All right, well, this is a knife, right? Artisan tomahawk, almost a 4-incher, big Wharncliffe knife. Well, no, maybe that's a knife. Off-grid Enforcer XL, big old 4-inch knife. Well, you know, blade fans, I think we've got them beat in the Wharncliffe category. How about that's a knife? Freshly in from the Knifecenter, we have, yes, the Dirk Pinkerton designed Proponent in all titanium M390, exclusive from Knifecenter, $190. That's right, M390 in titanium, $190. Could be the most overlooked knife of the year so far, and it's actually been out since last year. Well, let's clear the table and get into it. Not that those other two aren't really fine knives. Now, let me begin by saying my first exposure, if you will, to the Proponent was this budget version. You can still pick these up for a mere $55. I mean, that is a deal. Yes, they are in D2. It is very close, not very close, it's exactly the same knife with G10 scales. This one happens to be a blue-gray G10. They come in black and some other colors. And there is a mini version of this out now if you don't like the big, massive 4-inch blade. So liner lock versus a frame lock, very similar clip. Materials are different primarily. Action still crazy smooth, drop shut. So what do you get when you get this knife? Well, with all of the upper end Artisans, you get this lovely metal box. So you want to keep your smoke or your trinkets or your toys or your jewelry or whatever in there. I've got a whole bunch of these. I should probably sell them. Let's take another look at this gorgeous knife. If you're into large knives, chunky knives, beastie knives, this is certainly something you would be interested in. Look at the action. This is a guillotine. That's right. And some people may argue that they've got very expensive knives that are even smoother, and I wouldn't disagree with you. But whether you're using the nicely jimped flipper tab or these humongous barrel-shaped thumb studs, there you go. And does it lock up any good? Oh, God, like a drum, like a fixed blade. There's the pouch. So you get all the amenities, cleaning cloth. And let me show you one other thing you get, if I can dig it out of here. You get the capability of turning this into a virtual fixed blade knife. So if you're not familiar with what Dirk has done with the design of the Proponent, you get this threaded little stud. And there you see a hole. And if we go into the left side, we can screw that in there because it's threaded on the other side of the frame. So once you do that, you cannot close the knife. No way, no how. And this is to keep track of it, of course, but you know, you could, if you weren't afraid of losing it, you could put it in a little pouch or something. I don't know. Probably keep it on the end of that lanyard. I don't know that it's going to see that much use with me. And let's create a little more room here. There we go. So look at the height of this knife. I mean, I have medium large hands, and we're going to get into measurements in a moment. I do have a review out on the budget version, so everything's going to be pretty similar dimension-wise, but we're going to measure it up anyway. We have an overall length of 9 inches. Yes, 9 inches, just maybe a little shy if you want to get picky. We have just under a 4-inch blade. So we're going to call it 9 inches and 4 inches. I think that's rounding up sufficiently. 4.8 millimeter blade stock, so virtually a 5 millimeter blade stock. And in imperial units, 0.18 inches of the blade, and a 0.63 inches across the handle, which is, for this size knife, relatively thin. Now, what I really need to know is, are we going to get an ounce per inch on this guy? We might, right? Yeah, I'm pulling your legs. What do we got? An 11 ounce knife, 11.09. So well over a half pound of a knife. 8 ounces would be a half pound, so we're 3 ounces over that. Climbing up into the 3/4 of a pound of knife. Absolutely nuts. What do we got for height? Well, the height on the blade is 1 3/4 inches. Height at the tallest part of the handle is 1 3/4 inches. And right down at the very end of the blade, we got like 1 1/4-ish. So a nice taper to the handle, actually. Certainly thin enough so that you compensate for the height by the lack of thickness, because you don't have any handle scales. They're solid titanium. They do a beautiful matte brushed finish on this knife. And Bob DeMarco of the Knife Junkie was saying, yeah, you'll get some beautiful snail trails on there. I guess I probably will with some use over time, having rings on and whatnot. Get those little squiggly lines on there that some people do like and other people don't. We'll see. Got a nice fuller. Reminds me of a Cohen's Craft knife. Nice big, shallow fuller. You can see it there going down the middle. And relatively, not relatively, you got a fine point, but not delicate. So this could be a utility knife. This could be a tactical knife. And it really all depends upon whether you want to have 11 ounces hanging in your pocket. Now, the question would be, is the clip switchable? It is. So you can see a cutout there in the titanium. So you lefties can carry this knife. Got a pure titanium clip. We're not going to pick up a magnetic signature on anything but those screws. And they're a slotted screw rather than Torx, as you can see. We do have some T8s right here, and this is steel hardware. The pivot obviously is steel hardware. And yes, the thumb studs are steel hardware, as expected. Nice sharpening choil there, so you do have a reduction in the cutting surface of the blade. It, for all the world, appears to be, let's see, use the box here, a straight edge, although some Wharncliffe designers will tell you that they're not. That's, I don't know. Yeah, ever so slight of a belly. I wouldn't even call it a belly. I'd call it a straight edge. Um, I think Dave out at Knifecenter in his video review of this, showing some of the new knives, so back some months ago, uh, said this looks like a sax, and it does have that cutoff. I mean, if you see this in a picture and it's right up near the edge of the frame, you're saying, oh, where's the rest of the blade? And it kind of looks like that. So that abrupt, may not even really be Wharncliffe, maybe more of a straight clipped sheep's foot, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling it a Wharnie because it's got that abrupt clip to it. Looking at the Enforcer XL again, that has more of a belly, and it is the same length blade, pretty much. Might even be a skosh longer. Pretty much, we'll call it the same length. But look at that. Certainly not as tall. And you might have been curious about this one. I don't think they make it anymore. That's the Tomahawk by Artisan. So Artisan. And it's sort of a cleaver blade, really, because of that slight upsweep and very stubby tip there where the clip comes down, and a belly, and a usable finger choil. That's a budget knife, D2 and G10. So comparing it to something diminutive, such as the Griptilian, there you go. It's just a bit bigger, yes, just a bit bigger than the Griptilian. It is about an inch longer, and as you can see, it is much, much taller. Let's get the Rat 1 out here, make an appearance. So with the Rat 1, it's coming in very close to the same length. Isn't that interesting? And a blade length, tiny bit, fraction of an inch shorter. And certainly, again, not nearly as tall. It surprised me with the Rat 1 that it was so close. But great jimping. I did say M390. That's the big deal with this, M390 for under 200. There is the M390. They're saying it's coming in 59 to 61. There's Dirk Pinkerton's logo and his name. So, a lot of people are saying with M390, with MagnaCut, that the manufacturers are not doing it justice by not hardening it up enough. In talking to Dirk Pinkerton about a custom I have of his in MagnaCut, the Razorback, I asked him about the Rockwell, and he said he's very careful when he heat treats. In the MagnaCut, he did not heat treat himself. He sent that out. And he said, it needs to be a balance. Now, I looked up the optimal hardness for MagnaCut, and I know we're straying off topic here because we're talking M390 here, but it somewhat applies. That MagnaCut, they're saying 62.5 is ideal for balance of toughness and hardness. And I am by no means a metallurgist, and many of you out there have more background with that. But we do have M390 here. They are saying 59 to 61 Rockwell. Everybody wants to hit that magic 60 mark. So this could be 60. It could be 59. It could be 61. We don't know why they have that degree of variance. Maybe when you're doing large batches of blades, you just can't nail it exactly where you want it. I don't know. The only way to prove it would be to put the Rockwell tester on this, and I don't have one. We'll put a little bit of a divot in the blade there. Maybe one day, if I have access to that, we'll send it out. Probably strop that up, would get even sharper, but we've got a reasonably high grind. And you could say that grind goes all the way to the top with the interruption of the fuller in the middle. So let me know what you think, and maybe you're interested. I'll leave the link to this out there so that you can go pick one up for yourself. I think they're still available at the Knifecenter. And you all be well. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe. See you soon.